This is Money FM Radio 93.7. And of course, we are right on accounting and business. As usual, every Tuesdays we bring you accounting and business. Now, Mr. Lusambo is also joining us as usual every Tuesday. And we'll be looking at a book called Property and You. And of course, we are looking at page 40. There are quite a number of things that people learn and can learn per se from this particular book. So of course you might just want to get yourself that book, like we did advertise last week. And of course there are days when we definitely give it for free on Mondays sometimes, so you might just get yourself a chance to win that book. Mr. Lusambo, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you, Stephanie. It's good to see you. You look amazing. And
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to our discussion this morning. But we
Yes.
promised last week. We said we're going to buy a book for somebody, and of course, today some people are going to have a chance to, of course, walk out with this great masterpiece. Guys, I've never
Yeah.
enjoyed reading a book in a long time than I did this one. This was my December
Mhm.
read, and I enjoyed it so much. Stefan as well. Stefan, show them the book. Show them the book. Let them see the book. All right, guys, tell us if you can see the book. Yeah. That's the book, guys. This, guys, is a masterpiece. I'm telling you, I enjoyed myself. And today, our discussion carries well with this book because we're looking
Mm.
at why should we invest in property in this economy? All right.
Mm.
So that's the whole idea of today's discussion. And what we're going to be able to look at before we go into why should we invest in property in this economy, first of all, we need to make people understand the benefits of investing in property, and that is real estate. And this is partly so, Stefan, partly because in our setup, we don't think about real estate more often. We think about small businesses. We don't think real estate can be for us. We think of real estate being for big boys, people that have got the money and the financial muscles. But hey, anybody can invest in real estate. So I'm really looking forward to this, Stephanie. I don't know about you. If you've read this book already, I don't know what's your comment on this one before you get started, Stephanie. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think there was a time when you talked about this book, the very first time we had a conversation, and it actually prompted me to go and get it. And then
Yeah.
I bought this book. Honestly, I was like, okay, so this is Stephanie, and she's bought the book. Do I qualify? And I started slowly understanding the book, and I realized you might have property or not, but the knowledge that you gain is still useful, whether you do have
Yeah.
it or not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this book contains MBA level kind of information, MBA level
Mm.
kind of advice being simplified in a layman's language. This is one thing I love about this book. It's so easy to understand. I was thinking when I start reading the book, I'm going to find a lot of jargons, some big words from English to scare me. But hey,
Mm.
I enjoyed my way all through the very end. It's an amazing book. And just to remain faithful to our presentation, we are discussing this morning, friends, why should we invest in property in this economy? That's a very fundamental question that we need to look at, all of us here, because it's something that we cannot avoid. If you are somebody who wants to grow financially, somebody who wants to grow portfolios, you can't avoid thinking about property, real estate. All right. And just to give
Mm.
you a background of this book here, um, Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi is the author of this book, and Mr. Fumbeshi is founder and chief executive officer of Fairworld Properties Limited, of course, a property consultants company that specializes in property valuation, estate agency, property management, facilities management, and property development consultancy. And if you want to know more about Mr. Fumbeshi, you may go to his website, www.chisebwefumbeshi.com. You're going to know more about the author and, of course, why he wrote this book. Now, just a sneak peek from the cover of the book. Before I get into the details, all right? Just
Mm-hmm.
a sneak peek. Here's what it says. It
Mm.
says, "All to all our desires is the attainment of freedom." And I love this statement because we all want freedom, Stephanie. Who does not want to be free from worrying about rentals? Who does not want
Mm.
that? So it says, "Core to all our desires is the attainment of freedom." Freedom to make choices in life, in lifestyle. The freedom to do the things we like. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Who does not want that freedom. And this says property investment provides the freedom, choice, time, and financial stability we all desire. Property investment is vital in a person's life. We all need to develop the right attitude and steps to achieve the best results. Boom. Did you hear that? When I just saw that, the first day I saw that on this book, I said, you know what? I found something here. All right. And now it goes on to say the solution lies in a simple yet thoughtful process to develop the way you think about property investment and help you become a property investor you truly are. So Mr. Fumbeshi believes that anybody can be a property investor. It does not matter whether you are broke, you're not a big boy financially. Anybody in this world can become a property investor and can invest in real estate. Now, in this simple guide, Chisebwe Fumbeshi gives you a path to become part of the property market and get positive results. So your story of property and you starts with the 5 steps. So he explains the 5 steps in this book where he says, develop your property knowledge. I enjoyed this part. I must say, I read it almost in just a day. I cruised through this chapter a lot. Develop the right attitude towards property investment. Chapter 3 talks about develop a network support of experts. Chapter 4, develop clear understanding of your property investment goals. Chapter 5, develop a smart action plan. And that was the bomb in this book. So guys, this is a book. We're going to give away some of the copies today. And for you to get a copy, I want to tell you that what you have to do simply, you're going to ask us constructive questions from the discussion you're going to have between me and Stephanie in the next few minutes. So all those of you are going to be giving us constructive comments, constructive contributions and questions. You stand yourself a chance of winning this book, Property and You, done by our very own Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi. And you know me, I'm a man that is extremely, I look at myself as somebody who's objective. I don't recommend dongoristic work. It's right here, guys. I don't. I have a standard of books I recommend to my audience because I care about our audience. These people could have been somewhere, Stephen. They are here with us. We can't give them half-baked information. We need, excellent information. And this is MBA level kind of advice here, guys. Do you know I know that because I have a master's, so I know the information in this book. And even if you did a master's, you can't get some of the information that has been put in this book in layman's language. So you are going to get this book at the end of the conversation. But let's get into our discussion for the day, Stephen.
Yes.
Why should we invest in property in this economy? Right? Why should we invest in property? And this is the question we are going to answer, throughout this discussion. But anyway, to get the ball rolling, Stefan, let's go to page number 40. And Stefan, I'm gonna be able to look forward to you bring up those points so that we can be able to discuss them. Chapter number 4 of this book, guys, just to give you a sneak peek so that you understand what we are about to give you, all right, is about why invest in property. And I'm going to refer to this one a lot, but because here Mr. Fumbeshi explains the advantages of you owning property. And one of these, Stefan, are you on page number 40 right now?
Yes, I am.
All right, fantastic. So what's the first one there, Stephanie? Why invest in property?
The first benefit is that there's positive cash flow.
Fantastic. Now, just to give a background to that, guys, in chapter number 4 of this book, here's what Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi says, and I'm giving you a sneak peek from the expert himself. All right, you could have paid thousands to get this information, but we are giving it to you just a sneak peek to understand the value of having this book in your bookshelf. Now, let's go. The first thing he said, and I like how it comes out in every chapter. He says, at first, all right, the thought of investing in property might prove to be daunting task for most of us. And it recognizes the fact that it is difficult for most of us to invest in property because it's a daunting process. So the idea of looking for and finding a good property, a good neighborhood, and then finding a reliable, of course, renter might seem to be too much for some. And that's very true. But if you are ready to make a little effort, the returns are going to be worthwhile. Now, there are countless benefits in investing in property, and we are going to discuss them just now. And one of the benefits that he has explained is, of course, he talked about positive cash flows. But before I get to that, I want to give you just a background of what Mr. Fumbeshi thinks about this issue and how he brings it out in his book. All right, we see those comments coming, guys. Please share the video with your friends, your relatives, those who care about. We see those comments and we appreciate your valuable contributions. Now he says benefits in investing in property. He says this. He says, first and foremost, you get to decide the type of property you're going to invest in. That's one thing I love about the benefits. When you're investing in property, it's you who decides the type of what you're going to invest in. And this says the choice is yours. So with plenty of options, it may be residential property, commercial property, hotels, family homes, but ultimately you get to choose where to invest. Nobody chooses for you where to invest in property. It's your decision to invest. It's different from shares, all right? This is where you have a lot of control. So all you need to do is a little research. For example, it is always prudent to invest in a property that you feel comfortable with, as this is going to be a big decision for you, all right? So before you invest, be comfortable about this property. And it says, however, the value of your investment is likely to appreciate considerably as the community grows. So it is a known fact that property values rises steadily over the years. Of course, it says the longer you hold on to your property, the more returns in the form of financial gain you are likely to have. Now, while on the subject of long-term returns, guys, many people want an investment that can see them through their retirement years. Now, rental housing is one sector, Stephanie, that almost never decreases in price, thus making it a good investment in the long run. Think about you're going to retire in the next 5 years, 10 years. You have a house. We know old people in our communities who are landlords, and they are surviving through rentals for years, and they'll keep surviving through rentals for a very long time. And this is what Mr. Fumbeshi is able to recognize in his book. And he says, as the property valuation typically goes up with the years, it is the only reliable way to invest your money for your retirement, compared to a savings bank account or retirement saving plan, which is more likely to lose value as inflation goes up. And this is true. I tell people in my classes, and I tell them this, Stefan, and I say, guys, a smart person does not get his 100,000, is 500,000, and puts into a bank account for savings account. You're wasting money. There is a threshold at which you can invest your money, at which you can save your money. You are saving for emergencies. Once you reach your saving cap, the savings account must be sealed and closed, so that you can now start directing those savings into investments. You can never become wealthy by saving money. No, because with time, money loses value. Inflation erodes the value of money. So if you have money right now, I'm going to give you an example. It's so unfortunate I don't have the paper right here. I wish I had the paper in my pocket. I think I have. My wallet is in the other room. I could have shown you. When you have money is a note. All right. If you have 100,000 kwacha today, and someone else has got a house worth 100,000 kwacha today, the person with a house worth 100,000 kwacha today has more value than you, because that paper can be torn down into pieces and nothing. You can't turn down into pieces the house. Again, the other point I wanted to answer from this one is that what Mr. Fumbeshi is saying, that with time, money is going to lose value. And that is very true. Inflation, when you save the money, inflation rates, the buying power of money reduces. For the property, the value goes up year in and year out. So these are some of the things you have to think about. Don't save too much in your savings account. That's what we are discouraging you. You save up to the required threshold, and we've been doing this for a very long time. And then after that one, what do? You begin to invest in property. Now, Stephanie, let's get into the first advantage of why we should save into property. What is that?
That, of course, is a positive cash flow. And right on positive cash flow, Mr. Fumbeshi says property sometimes generates positive cash flow after the mortgage and other related expenses are paid. The cash flow increases. It does so even more with the time as incidentals decrease and the rental rate increases. This is a great way to create a source of retirement income for you, which will never go bust.
Fantastic. Now, do you know why I love that point? Now, here's the issue. When he talks about cash flow, I can relate with cash flow. When you go to the bank to get a loan, banks don't care what you have. Banks look for cash flow, right? Of course, you need some property that you can use as collateral to back you up. But if you look at a house or a hotel, a loan, whatever it is, cash flows increase with the increase in number of years. So the price of rentals today will not be the same as next year and the year to come. And this is what I noticed in one of the points you mentioned, that property real estate heads against inflation, because with with passage of time, the value of the property goes up, the rentals go up. Even if inflation is going up, it's like inflation is being what compensated by the increase in the value of the property. So if you talk about cash flow, positive cash flow, it's saying there will come a time in your life where you recover all the investment in your properties. And then all you have now is simply positive cash flow, just enjoying the money to yourself, your children, your grandkids, and maybe yourself. So this is what Mr. Fumbeshi is saying here. Property sometimes generate positive cash flows after the mortgage and other related expenses are paid. Sometimes you may get a mortgage, all right? You have your property. Then you begin to pay for a very long time. But once those things are paid, whatever remains now is simply your cash flow. You're not going to pay anybody else. You keep enjoying for a very long time. Think about those old people in your community, how they are surviving. They're surviving on rent. That's a retirement package, guys. You tell us in the comments what you think of that point. Actually, because I'm going to do a giveaway at the end of this presentation. We see those comments coming through. We'll give you some books, guys, before you go. We appreciate. Let's go to the next question, Stephanie.
Diversification. Now,
Fantastic.
in any well-balanced investment portfolio, diversification is a must. It helps to counterbalance volatility in any asset class, thereby ultimately reducing the overall portfolio risk elements. Of course, property is a good way to add diversity in your investment portfolio. Well, there's another angle to it. So
Yeah.
investments in property provide inflation hedging, mainly because the relationship between GDP growth and demand for property, added pressure put on property as the economy grows, actually causing in turn the rental prices to increase, which again raises the revenue earned from the property. Now, I pick 2 points. I do pick
Yes.
inflation and there's GDP.
Yes. Now, yeah, this is the point I like about diversification. Now, for just our friends who are joining us, diversification. I'm going to give you a financial perspective. In finance, there's something that we call unsystematic risk and systematic risk. Unsystematic risk is the risk that you can control, the risk that you can do away with. For example, you cannot control inflation. All right, you can't control the price of goods and services. You can't control the CPI, but there's something that you can control on your own. For example, you can control the level of financial risk you're exposed to. For example, the amount of debt you get yourself into. You can control that. Right now, the economy is bad, but you can control how much debt you contract. You can control how much rentals you spend on your house. You can control how much money you spend on your food. So this is what Mr. Fumbeshi is saying here. When he says diversification, he's giving an example saying in a well-balanced investment portfolio, diversification is a must because it helps to counterbalance volatility in asset class, of course, thereby ultimately reducing the overall portfolio risk elements. When you diversify your portfolios, you have reduced risk. To diversify, I can give an example. It's like you have 100 million kwacha, and then you lend it to one person. You are exposing yourself to a lot of risk. But if you lend it to 100 people, you've diversified the risk. At least you've reduced the risk to some acceptable levels because 100 people, not all of them are going to default. Some may default, but some may pay. So when he says that that property is a good way to add diversity in your investment portfolio, because there's another angle to it, and this says investment in property provides inflation hedging mainly because of the positive relationship between GDP growth and demand for property. What he's saying is this: when the inflation is going up in the economy, like right now we have a global inflation going up, so money is losing its buying power. All right, money is losing its buying power, but at the same time, the population is growing in the country. You know what that means? It means we have a lot of people graduating from universities, a lot of people going into schools. Have you seen? So there is always going to be increased demand for property. Now that increased demand on property is what's going to increase the value of property. So while money is losing value in the economy, all right, money is losing value because of inflation, the property is gaining value because of demand for property. People want to rent houses. People are getting independent. People want to get married. All right. So there's
Mm.
always increased what demand for property, and because of that demand for property, the property gains value, which acts as a hedge against inflation. A hedge simply means a mitigation measure, some that helps to reduce the effect of inflation on your money and on your investment. And the property does that extremely well. Guys, this is a masterpiece right here, guys. I'm loving every
Mm.
bit of this. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that, Stefan. Isn't that just so wonderful?
Yeah, it's very good and obviously beautiful. Telling us property definitely will not lose value. Anything else, cash will lose value, but property,
Yeah.
that won't happen.
And if you have cash in the bank right now, 100,000 kwacha stuck right now, next year it will not be able to buy the same things you would have bought today if you used it today. But somebody who has a property worth 100,000 kwacha today, next year it will be more than 100,000 kwacha. Next year it will be
Yeah,
more than that. So that's the beauty. So property hedges against inflation. It mitigates the risk of inflation on your investment.
yeah.
Indeed. So what's our next point there, Stephanie?
Just before we get to our next point, I might want to remind those that just joined us via the mainstream. So this is Money FM Radio 93.7. And of course, you might just want to be part of this discussion. Remember, there is a book to be won. So you might use 0771616 a book called Property and You. Now, how you actually qualify to win is as you follow with our conversation, people that add in I don't want to say the most valuable because I don't want to gauge, but it's a competition, guys. And so, of course, those that really follow very well and obviously comment, will actually choose. I don't know, but yeah, we'll definitely choose
Of course, the
the
admin will help us pick. Of course, there will be some valuable comments. We're going to pick some and give some copies today to some of you. That you can have a sneak peek of this book and just have it to yourself and read it. I've read it. That's why I'm happy about this book. It was my December read,
yes.
and I'm very happy. Yeah. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
may go to the next one, Stephanie.
Yeah, let's go to leverage, of course, which says property has more leverage than other forms of investment. Now, this simply means borrowed capital in order to boost the potential of earnings of an investment. Now, compared to other forms of investment, property offers the greatest power of leverage as property is the most tangible of the assets. Financing is more likely to be attained against it, and the potential returns is more likely. Actually, the potential returns are increased considerably in comparison to investment, which has less leverage.
Yes. So here's what Mr. Fumbesh is saying here, and I was coming out on this one because it's being very thoughtful here, and he understands people get excited with debt. So here's what he's saying, and is in conformity with what we talk about in finance. We say if you are going to borrow, don't borrow for consumption. Do you know why? Because once you borrow someone else's money, you're going to work 17 times as hard as you could have worked if you used your own money, because the banks gives you money for someone else. That means when you're going to pay interest to the bank, you're going to pay the bank's benefit, but also the person who saved the money in the bank should be able to benefit. So you're paying two kinds of interest here. So Mr.
Mm,
Fumbeshi understands that and is encouraging you, saying, guys, instead of you just borrowing money for consumption, you can use property, all right, as to borrow money and reinvest in property, because property has more, more returns. He says property has more leverage than other forms of investment. If you have hotels, you have houses, it is easier to get funding. That's just the fact, all right? Because
mm,
those hotels are bringing in cash flows, but at the same time, they're being used as a collateral. So it becomes easier for you to use other people's money to even build more properties. Once you have 3, 4, 5 properties, you can talk to the banks, institutions.
mm,
They may give you loans, all right, to build more properties. But you hear what he says? He says that compared to other forms of investment, property offers the greatest power of leverage because property is the most tangible of assets. Financing is more likely to be attained against it. So the potential returns are increased considerably in comparison to an investment which has less leverage. Every year, the returns on property goes up. Every single year. Right now, you're going to enter into a recession. You're going to see people are going to be losing jobs, we're going to be investing and stuff like that. What's going to happen to property? Since the right time for it now begin to invest in property, because in the next few years, there's going to be a lot of increased demand for, of course, houses, lodges, hotels, boarding houses, schools, and stuff like that. So property gives you higher returns. It has more potential return than other investments. That's just the fact. Because with time, you will be getting thousands of cottages in rentals. So that's an amazing point. If you don't have property, it's difficult to get funding. Right now, when you go to the bank, Stephanie, they are going to tell you, why should we give you money? Number one, you have no cash flow. Number two, you have no collateral. So why should we trust you? But if you have a property that is generating some cash flows, the banks can be considered and say, you know what? He has a lodge. He has a boarding house. He has this. How much does he make in the month? He makes one. So, okay, fine. Let's fund this person. They fund. What do? You reinvest back in property. So you can grow your portfolios fast using property. You can leverage other people's money using property. So that's a smart move. That's smart. That's a very smart move. Using other people's money to create more wealth for yourself and more property for yourself. So the banks give you money, you go and buy more property. They give you money, you go and buy more property. So what's going to happen? With time, the property will pay all those debts itself. Stress-free.
You attain your freedom.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a smart move is giving you. So what we say, guys, this is like MBA level kind of advice is giving in a simple way. All right. This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm loving every bit of this. So Stefan, over to what's our next point there?
Well, there is less profitable, and of course, property is less susceptible to the ups and downs of the stock market. While stocks and bonds can provide exceptional wealth, they can also be exceptionally volatile and make investors insecure. So, in comparison, property is far more consistent and not subject to and is not subject to much market. And obviously, property can provide steady returns even during a downturn in the economy. Well, you might just want to start with explaining what less susceptible means.
All right. So now, what happens by that? By less susceptible, we say we are all susceptible to risks. That means risks can happen to all of us. All right. But we're going to say property is less susceptible to the ups and downs of the stock market. Means property is less exposed in a simple way to unnecessary risks like those that come in stock markets and bonds. If you're investing in stocks right now, do you know that's a very high risk you're taking? All right, partly because companies can go into liquidation. All right, you may lose your investment. All right, companies may shut down. Sometimes the value of shares may go down, which means your value as an investor also goes down. There's a lot of volatility associated with financial markets. All right, bond markets. Even though bonds may provide what we call, almost risk-free kind of investment, it's not all bonds that do that because we have something called corporate bonds. And what determines the return is the maturity period. All right. If you're going to invest for, say, a short period of time, you can't get the same return somebody's going to invest for a longer period of time. All right. But also, speculation affects the benefits they're going to get on the bond. For example, if it is expected that in the next 5 years there will be too much inflation, do you know what that means? If you invest in a 5-year bond and the next 5 years inflation is going to be up, you are more likely to lose the investment because by the time you'll be getting your money, you would have lost its value because of inflation. So there are all those kind of risks associated with investing in stock and bonds. All right, and this is what we keep telling our friends. While stock and bonds may provide you with a safety net, it's not every kind of bond that's risk-free. When people are starting up, we tell them, can you go with, of course, the government bond, because those are almost risk-free. The government says on the kwacha, I promise to pay the bearer on demand. So you can be guaranteed you're going to get back your money. But in an event that there's going to be a lot of inflation, that means even though they pay that money, it won't have so much value in the future because of too much inflation. Have you seen? Now, stocks, real estate, right, does exceptionally well in this regard, but because it is less susceptible to economic ups and downs, such as inflation and volatility in interest rates and stuff like that. Property is less, affected by those kind of things. This is why when you put your money in property, real estate is the only investment in the world That makes your money work 17 times as harder than any other investment. It is the only proven way of investing that has more, power to make you wealth than other investments, because it is, of course, less, susceptible to these economic downturns. And this is the point that I like, but because also Mr. Fumbesh talks about tax benefits, and we keep
Mm,
telling people in our classes about tax benefits. We say, when you talk about tax benefits, Mr. Fumbesh, I want to use his words. He says another very good reason to invest in property is tax benefit it gives you. A number of
mm-hmm,
deductions can be claimed on the tax return, such as interest paid on the loan, repairs, maintenance, insurance, in some countries, even agent fees and travel to and from the property for repairs. These ones can be claimed. And in our country, we have capital allowances. This is what we teach people in our classes, Stefan. I do a lot of capital allowance calculations myself. And I think I love that part of financial management when it comes to dealing with tax benefits on capital allowances, because I do that every single day. Right? Yesterday I was doing that with some people, tax benefits on property. So it's such a beautiful thing. Property gives you those tax benefits. Like debt also gives you tax relief. If you borrow to go and invest in property, that debt has got some tax benefits, some tax relief on
mm,
that debt. It is different if you borrow to go and invest, of course, for example, in stock. You're exposing yourself to high risk. All right. And
mm,
again, if you think about stock, just like every other investment, they favor time. All right. And you have to keep on, working so much hard to invest in those things. But I'm not going to go into details of stocks, but because there's some good side to the stock and there's some good side to, bonds. But in comparison to these, I think real estate is a cake. Guys, it's a piece of cake. It's a jackpot. If you can develop the art of investing in real estate, maybe you are safe.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should be going to the next point, but I guess let's get to pay this bill on the other
All
side.
right.
Yeah, we've got a bill to pay here.
Keep those comments coming. Are we ready with the bill payment?
Almost. Well, this is Money FM Radio 93.7. And of course, we still are looking at this book, actually, Property and You. That's, of course, written by Chisebwe Fumbeshi from Fairworld Properties. And of course, we're looking at page 40, and now we are right at page 43. Now, we actually do have a giveaway by the end of this session. But of course, I've seen quite a number of comments. People really want to win that book. People are excited. Continue to keep those comments coming. Well, our other point says, it pays itself. I should say I'm really interested in this point because
Yeah.
the mortgage financing, it can be paid down by rental earnings from the property. This is a benefit that is unique to property investment, and it enables one to cover the costs associated with the property.
Yeah, and do you know why this is such an amazing point Mr. Fumbesh is making here? Tell me how many investments you know where when you borrow the money, the investment begins to pay itself in the long run. There are very few investments because most of them you've got to wait. That's why we do payback period, discounted payback, duration. We do those in our classes. But now, if you look at what it says, the mortgage financing can be paid down by the rental earnings from the property. So when you get, for example, a mortgage, and then you build some property, you put on rent, you can dedicate those rentals to servicing the loan, the interest on the loan.
Mm,
That gives you a peace of mind. Think about that. You borrow someone's money, and then their money begins to pay them back, but the property is yours. Think about that. So we have to change the mindset. This is what Mr. Fumbesh says. I like what he said at the beginning here, right? He says, core to our desire is the attainment of freedom, freedom to make choices in lifestyle, the freedom to do the things we like. Property investment provides the freedom, choice, time, and financial stability we all desire. All right? And this is extremely important. And it talks about we have to be able to change our mindset. That's what he started this chapter with. It's extremely important to change our mindset. But because think of it this way, Stefan, you have a 500,000 kwacha loan. You build some boarding houses, which are quite on demand right now. And you know what
Mm-hmm.
happens? Those boarding houses you begin to get rentals, and those rentals you begin to use them to pay back the bank. So this why you've not used any of your coins. You've just gotten money from the bank, you build boarding houses, and then you get the rentals to pay the bank. Think about that. But even better, if you don't have the capacity to get those loans, we're going to talk about what about somebody who has no money, somebody who earns a 5,000 kwacha, a 2,500 kwacha. How can they invest in property? That's another point we're going to discuss very soon, guys. Over to you, Stephanie.
Well, as we should be getting to wind up, let's get to look at secure and long lasting. That's, of course, another point on the benefits of investing in real estate. So, as entrepreneurs achieve success in their respective ventures, they look to invest their profits in a place which will be secure and long lasting. Now, property is just the place for that. There are more than a few reasons for that. And of course, I almost went to
Yeah,
the next point, but I should say I really am interested in this one because everyone really wants to have a secure and long-lasting business or source of money, and I think property is one of the ways to secure and obviously long-lasting, unless it gets dashed by the rain. Otherwise, it really stays
yeah,
for a long time.
yeah, indeed. In this, think about how there are houses in our compounds that were built before we were born,
Mm-hmm.
and people are still renting. The owners have benefited hundreds and hundreds of times, and they're still benefiting. Their grandchildren come and live. And if you think about people who have generation wealth, it's because of property.
Mm-hmm.
Because of property. You can't have wealth by saving a lot of money in the bank because the money will lose value. Right? They will charge you bank charges before you know it. Inflation is going to erode your savings. Before you know it, you're done. That's why we always encourage people. You can save up to 6 months of your expenses, all right? And you can save for emergency. But once the emergency threshold is reached, can you stop putting money into that account because you are wasting money? It's like you have borrowed money. The 4% interest you're going to get on your savings account won't take you anywhere. It's very little. All right. It takes you 600 years, all right, to double your money through that 4%. 600 years. What I mean by that is that it takes you a lot of time to double your money. Right. And of course in Zambia we're even better than in the US where they give you 2%. Here we're even better. All right. So it takes you a lot of time to double your money, all right, with just saving money. Because inflation is kind of 9 point something percent, for example. And then you're getting 2% or 4%. So what is that for? This is what when you see in this book, Mr. Fumbeshi explains you can use the bank's money, all right? But of course, property gives you what's called long-term returns. When you're investing in property, it's not just about you. All right, it's not just about you. I remember when Mr. Fumbeshi he was giving a speech in the masterclass. I think it's one of the masterclass. He said when he was it 27 years old when they first moved into their first property. You know what? And you know that was a very long time. So we're talking about somebody who's been here for years dealing with property and stuff like that. It can give you a baseline to start up of course, your journey in investment in property. If you want to find out about him, there's, I think, some links we gave earlier, all right? Or you can simply go to his Facebook page, Chisebwe Fumbeshi, and you're going to find out more about him. Contact him. It's going to give you more information about how you can invest in property. And just to just comment on the other one here, Stephanie, there's something that I liked from what he said. He said property investment is a business. I like that statement. And here he says property investment is a business. As such, rental properties afford investors with an additional way of converting personal expenses into potential viable business deductions. So in this way, travel expenses to check on your property or payments to family members who manage your properties can be deductible, thereby increasing the tax benefit. Did you get that? How many investment may offer you these kind of benefits when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
taxes? There are very few. All right, there are very few. Of course, we have those benefits in farmers, and the tax that you pay on farm if you are a farmer is quite very low. But other than farming and property, what other investments do you know in this country that can give you all these tax benefits? So whether you are starting your life, of course, we're not going to talk about all of them. There are quite a number of benefits here. We're not going to talk about all of them, but just to give a conclusion remark before you can start giving out some copies, I want to mention to you guys that when I attended the masterclass last year, right, where Mr. Fumbeshi was speaking, and at the end we are asked to join a real estate group where even though you don't have so much money yourself, say you earn a 5,000 kwacha, all right, you earn a 10,000 kwacha, you earn a 15,000, whatever it is that you earn. Obviously, you can't build a house if you get paid. You can't build a house if your total income is 1,000 in a month or 5,000 in a month. It's difficult unless you go and get some debt, right? But there's another way. There's something called real REITs. You know REITs, real estate investment trust, right? This is where a group of people can come together. For example, 5, 20, 15 people. And then you begin to put your monies together as a team. For example, there was an example of a group run by doctors. There's a doctor who was on the same masterclass. He said they have a group of about 20 or so doctors, and each month they contribute about 2,500 kwacha each every month, which they use to go and buy land. All right. When they buy land again, every month they keep contributing. So they are targeting areas where they are boarding houses, and then they are buying boarding houses for themselves. They are building boarding houses for themselves. They are putting them on rent. So they are 20. If 20 people, for example, contribute 2,500 each, you multiply that one by 20, you have about 50,000. So every month, these 20 people raise 50,000. They buy land. Next month, 50,000, they buy land. The next month, 50,000, they are buying land, but at the same time, they also, buy building materials. Then they are building boarding houses, which are low cost, kind of buildings. In the next 2, 3, 4 years, these doctors will never be the same. All right. Now they can even now get a much more higher capital from lending institutions. So you don't have to do it alone. That's the beauty about property. You don't have to do it alone. You can do it as a group, or you can invest in a real investment, real estate, of course, investment trust, where you simply deposit your money every month, your contribution, and then this organization do it for you without you having to lift a finger, or you get a dividends. So there are different options of how you can invest in real estate. Whether you have no money, you can still invest. Whether you have zero to nothing, you can still contribute monthly small contributions. It's just the way you do chilimba. The problem we have in our setup, people lack trust, and people don't read about things. So people have no idea of what is a REIT, real estate investment trust. Take advantage. Go and read, buy this book. This book is going at a very affordable price of 150 kwacha only. And I was thinking, say, Mr. Fumbeshi, what is going on? This book should be more than that. But because he has a heart for the people, he says, you know what, I'm not going to overcharge people. I want to help. I want to give back because I've benefited so much in this industry. Then he gives back a masterpiece to the public. So you know what, take it, read it, and see how it's going to change your life. I read this book. I'm not talking from, you can see how I'm passionate when I'm reading this book because I understand it very well.
Yes.
So I think now we are at the point where we need to give some giveaways to our audience. Where's the admin? The admin should help us pick the comments so that we don't be the one to choose. Guys, give us your takeaways as we are about to start giving you the giveaways. We have about 7 minutes to go so that we can do some giveaways. What are your takeaways? So give us your takeaways. Give us your takeaways. What are you taking out from this session? And okay, so there's a question from Yvonne, says, which company have property investment trust? There's a lot, right? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer you to Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi, all right? What you can do, simply go to www.chisebwefumbeshi.com. He'll be very much happy to guide you because he's an expert in this business, all right? So contact Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi, go to his Facebook page, Chisebwe Fumbeshi. You can inbox him so that they'll get in touch with you and guide you properly. Or now you can start your investment journey in property. Do that right about now. All right. So the admin said he was going to help us. Mr. Lucky, where are you? We need to give some giveaways. Show us some comments which are going with some of the giveaways. We need the
I think
admin to show us. So you can give us your right. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Give us your takeaway home as we are waiting for the admin. Okay,
this
that is
is
blessings.
Blessings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blessings Musankanya. Oh. This one is Derek P. And okay, this one is Blessing saying real estate has sufficient cash flow, variant income, and appreciation of value.
All right. So the admin, are you confirmed we are giving this book to blessings?
Investment in real estate will give
I'm,
you
I'm,
a
I'm
steady
not. I'm
income.
not sure whether that is a. I'm not sure whether that is the comment, but maybe we give them a link to click so that in the 5 minutes somebody can just answer one question and give them the book. How about that?
I guess we could actually come back after a few minutes to announce on our page who the winner has been. What do you think?
All right, fantastic. So the admin, please help us pick the winner, but we need to give them on the show. We have 5 minutes to do that. We can do that now. Let's give it to them now so that we forget about it. Somebody needs to go home with the book right now. We need 2 comments. Show us some comments. You are going to win, Mr. Admin, please. We need some comments and indicate if you are showing us this comment because it's the winner or you're just showing us the comment. So the admin, please show us the comment quickly. We have 4 minutes remaining. So those are takeaways from Edu says takeaway property investment can cushion against inflation. Yeah, fantastic. That's very true. Give us the takeaways, guys, as we wait for our admin to give us the names of people who have gotten the book. All right, so we've been told in our private chat that the names will be collected and they will determine after the show. So they need to sit down and look at the comments and determine who has gotten the copy. So we are going to announce, we're going to post very soon who has walked away with the books. So some of you, please stay on the lookout. We are going to announce the names very soon on our social media platforms. Yeah. Oh, I've lost Stephanie. All right. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's been an amazing session. I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things. We have 3 minutes to go. Give us your takeaways. Lacti Salamo says, I have seen that real investment can give me no stress. It will give me steady income. All right, fantastic. Of course, sometimes you may be stressed because of the processes, but if you are using the right people, it saves you a lot of stress. Stefan is back. Yvonne says, take away property investment is not just for you. Yes, it's also for your family, for your children, and stuff like that. Mary says, we have 3 minutes to go. Property investment is the best among other investments. It can be a business, it can be a state income. Property can also give back your area investment monies, and you will end up getting positive returns. Lesson learned. Great, I love that, Mary. I think that's fantastic. That's a beautiful takeaway. We still have 3 minutes, guys. Give us your takeaways. We're supposed to end at exactly 12 hours. We are now have 2 minutes. All right. Any takeaways? Of course, Derek P says investment in real estate will give you a state income. That's very true. Let's get some takeaways. And there are lots of comments. We are unable to read all of them. Austin says most of the time properties are only affected when there are calamities, low risks. Yes, they offer you a very low risk. That's very true. Okay, so we've just been told here by the admin, guys, don't leave the stream. The draw is being done about now. So admin said, don't leave the stream. The draw will be done at 12 hours. All names will be taken note of. So don't leave the stream. So they are doing a draw right now. We are doing a draw right now. We have 2 minutes to a draw. So don't leave the stream, guys. So Austin says real estate provides generational wealth. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay. Now give us your takeaways, guys, as we wait for the draw at we have 1 minute to the draw. We have 1 minute to the draw. The next minute, the names will be ready. What are your takeaways from today's session? And tell me, Stephanie, how about you? How have you found this book? Reading it? Have you done it already?
Well, I'm not able to get you clearly. Could be due to network.
Oh, you can't get me clearly. I can hear you very loud and clear.
Are you able to get me clearly?
Yes, yes, I can.
Wow.
Guys,
Okay.
give us feedback. Can you hear me? Just to find out if you can hear me. Somebody tell me if you can hear us, please. Somebody give us a comment. Can you hear us? Can you hear me specifically? Because Stefan says she can't hear me. Can you hear me? Somebody give me a comment, please. Can you hear me? All right, so it is now 12 hours. I'm sure now the admin is ready to give us the names. All right, so Mr. Edut says loud and clear, both of us. All right, so they can hear us. Stephanie, maybe it's just the network in your area. So now it's 12 hours. Let's see the names of the winners who have gone away with the copies of this book. Admin, give us the names. We're running out of time. Okay, Lacti says we are so clear. Fantastic. All right, I want to see the names of those who are going away with these copies. Yes, admin. All right. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Derek says we're loud and clear. So, guys, you can keep those comments coming. Okay, the admin says just a bit. They are done now. Okay, let's see how many people go away with this book. All right, fantastic. Just maybe. So, guys, keep interacting with us. Tell us your takeaways as we are just waiting for a few seconds now from the admin to send us the names of the people working out with this masterpiece. All right. If you don't get the book, stay tuned. I will keep giving, keep making some giveaways of this book. All right, to you, our members, because we love you and we appreciate you. We love the fact that you come here to be with us. All right, you give us the support. You give us constructive comments. You guys are amazing. You could have been somewhere else, but you are here with us. That's the first step to financial freedom, learning valuable information. All right. So I'm sure the admin must be ready by now. Yes, admin, give us a signal. What are the names? Okay, so I'm eagerly waiting to see what the names are so that we can see, of course, who goes away. Okay, there's a comment here. Oh, this is Mwanga. Mwanga's takeaway says positive cash flow. What's more important, the return on investment or return, of course, on investment? Two, when it comes to homes, which one is more profitable, a fully furnished house or an empty house? Three, how do you maintain the property from damages from tenants? All right, so these are some of the things that you need to now contact Mr. Chisebwe Fumbeshi to be able to answer you this. Unfortunately, we can't answer because we run out of time. But I'm very hopeful Mr. Fumbeshi has taken note of these questions and will be able to provide some solution to these questions. So those are some of the questions. We hope Mr. Fumbeshi will come through and just maybe make a write up and respond. You can even inbox him because right now we have no time to answer those questions at the moment. There are about 5 questions. Thank you very much, Mban, for bringing the questions through. The admin has taken note and will take them to Mr. Fumbeshi. So the names are ready. Yes, the drum roll, please. Okay. Let's see who wins. We have Ostery, Mary, Derek, Lakti, Yvonne, Mbandu, Blessings, Weeks, and Eliud. Okay, let's see who walks away with some copies. Let's see how many walk away with the copies. Okay, so is that a win? Where's on Yvonne? Okay, drum roll. I like that. So Mary, you're working on with a copy. Congratulations, Mary, you have a copy of the book Property and You. Amazing. Let's see another one. Another one. We have Mary K as the first one to work out with, of course, that is Mary there. Fantastic. Property offers the greatest power of leverage than other investments. All right, it was on Mary again. So let's do another drum to see someone else is going to work out with the book. Let's see. All right, Wix. All right, there we go. So Wix Wix walks away with a copy of course, investing in property, property in you. 5 steps to develop the property investor in you. Thank you so very much, admin, for your help. We appreciate. So, friends, you can contact inbox to collect your copy. Instructions will be given to now. You're going to get your copy of this book. So please stay with us. This show runs every week Tuesday at 11:05. We thank you very much for your tuning in, for staying with us. We wish to see you next week, Tuesday, same time at 11:05. So inbox us to receive your copies. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye, and may God bless you. May God fulfill you. May you find love, peace, and joy. Bye.